The Truth Girls.
Hi everyone, it's Sonia here. If you've been going through the change and having a really hard time making decisions about what to do about it, this video is for you. I'm hoping that by sharing my experience with you, it's going to save you some trouble. Okay, so here's the deal with me. I started going through peri about 8 years ago. I had a very, very hard time. I mean, it was much, much worse than I ever could have expected. Really beyond what I would have even imagined. And I thought it was, eventually going to get better, but it got harder and harder and harder. And then I actually had menopause almost 3 years ago. I thought that after that, then for sure it was going to get better. And actually, I even did a video. I made this video, how I survived menopause without HRT. And then I went on HRT because I found out that even actually after menopause, in my case, it didn't get better. Okay, here's a funny thing. You may, if you Google, you find on the internet, they'll say a lot of women actually go through menopause with no symptoms or minimal symptoms. There's about 25% that have a really hard time, something like that. And you'll also find out that it's only about 25% of women that get osteoporosis. And I found out something else, which might be the connection between why some women have a really hard meno, and these might also be the women who are prone to osteoporosis. And it has to do with estrogen produced after menopause. Apparently, most women still produce small amounts of estrogen after they've had menopause. We're talking picograms. But apparently these picograms are enough to make a difference in how you feel, and especially they're enough to make a difference in what happens to your bones. Because when the estrogen stops completely, your bones react by stopping production of a certain type of cell that your bones need to stay strong and to grow. I mean, I'm no scientist here, but from what I read, there's a cell that they make that keeps them sort of growing or renewing themselves. And if there's zero estrogen, what happens is this like shuts down. So, this has to do with whether you're one of the women who produces a little bit of estrogen after menopause or not. I'm willing to bet that I'm one who doesn't. And that probably has a lot to do with why it's such a hard time. This is also probably why I should be on HRT. I realize this now, that the issue of osteoporosis, this is something that, if you don't do something about it down the road, you're going to have a problem. I mean, this is what I've concluded after everything I've read. So this kind of sheds some light on like why it's different for different women, So here's what I had been doing. I had been doing herbal HRT, and I was using this, which I've shown you before. It's from Adrien Gagnon. It's called Meno Relief. And I'll tell you that this actually worked really well for some things. This worked very well for hot flashes. There were times where I felt like, I feel good. I feel like 100%, everything's good. I feel like my old self. I have energy. I'm sleeping well. I feel okay. And then though it would kind of be like this, then it would get worse again. So I'm not sure how to explain that. Maybe, this helps with some of the symptoms, and yet it's not enough to really make up for all of it. I don't know. But like I used this for years and years. I tried other formulas and I found this was a good one for me. And yet there I was like, 8 years in to my peri, 2.5 years post-meno, and I was still like dealing with this grueling ongoing ordeal, and it felt like it's never going to end. Honestly, it wasn't going well, It was taking a lot of effort, and it still wasn't over. And I had talked to doctors before about HRT, but they kept giving me the artificial ones. I wanted bioidentical, and I did not want to swallow pills. I hate swallowing pills. Plus, when you take the HRT orally, it's not good for your liver, and this is when you have more risk for side effects, including things like blood clots. So I didn't want that, but they just kept giving it to me. Finally, I got a doctor who was listening to me, and she prescribed me this, Estrogel, and this Prometrium. This is great. I'll show you just like example, even though I already had some. You just pump it. That's not how much you put more. And you just rub it in. That's it. It's really easy, and I have not had any problems so far with this. This one is a capsule, but if you look at the labeling for how this product is marketed in Europe, you will see that there are 2 ways that you can use it. So if you really don't like swallowing pills, or you really want to minimize, the side effect risks that come with swallowing any of these things, you can use it the other way. So how does this compare to this? I'll tell you that with this, I've had relief. I mean, hot flashes is like a thing of the past. But for me, the worst part had been depression, mood swings, and actually this helped with the mood swings, but depression, it was chronic. It was at times like, especially whenever I stopped taking this, it would come right back. It was really bad. I actually feel like, I was living with that depression for so many years, it probably damaged my brain a bit, because it does that. Well, it was amazing, because as soon as I started taking this, within 1 week, all the dark thoughts were just gone. It's just like, it just wasn't part of me, and it wasn't part of my brain. It just was gone. Poof. That was it. I was really, really glad, because like, I have a pretty strong character, but it was like this was sort of just coming at me, and even my pastor was like telling me how to pray about it, and I was like, listen, I think it's my hormones, and it was. So as soon as I started using this, that was that. It just disappeared. The other thing was my sleep was horrible. When I started using this, I mean, my sleep got better, but you know what? I use this 2 weeks a month, and the first time that I used this, I crashed. It was unbelievable. I was like, my eyes were crossing, and I was like, out. And I slept through the whole night. I hadn't done that in a long time. I mean, I slept so hard and so long, I woke up and I was like, what? It's morning! How did this happen? This never happens to me. It was crazy. And let's just say that this really helped my sleep. Although over time, like as I got adjusted to it, I did not conk out and sleep through the night anymore, but it has not been ever like it was before, because I was having like night after night after night of insomnia, waking up in the night, waking up too early, not being able to go back to sleep. I mean, all shades of it. And it was so bad. And so, this really fixed the problem. I tell you honestly, I'm not suffering anymore. Since I switched to bioidentical hormones, I'm not suffering anymore. It worked. There was a part of me that felt like, oh, I want to do this natural, and I want to get through this change. Like it's part of life, it's part of development. Honestly, I went through hell for 8 years, and I was just like, you know what, this is killing me, like this is ruining me. And it's turning me into a person that I don't even know. Like, I don't even know myself anymore. What is this craziness? And this is just sort of giving me back my quality of life. So I feel like in my case, it's good. And like I said earlier, I think that I'm probably one of those women who produce no estrogen. And that's probably why it's been so hard. And I'm probably one of those women that would get osteoporosis. If I'm not producing estrogen, I have a feeling that would be me. So I'm thinking now about my bones also. And I'm thinking they can use a little help from this, And the thing is, if you're going to do bioidentical HRT, if you're one of those women that don't produce estrogen, it's better you start earlier rather than later. This is what I'm finding out now. For all the problems that women have, and for the side effects that you can have from HRT, it's all better if you start sooner, not later. You don't want to start like I did, like 2 years after menopause. You want to start before you finished and you had your actual menopause. You want to start while you're still in peri. It's safer, and it's better for your bones and for all that. And like, seriously, just don't put yourself through hell. If you're really having a hard time, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but my experience was it's not worth the suffering, and the bioidentical HRT has been really good. Honestly, at this point, considering how horrible it was, if there are side effects or whatever, it's like, well, that's just going to have to be, you know, that's just going to have to be whatever. I couldn't live that way anymore. So this is my review. Did this help? Yes, it did. This helped so much more, though. It really did. And you know, I'm only using half the dose. Half and half. 1 capsule and 1 pump. I feel okay. I don't feel like I'm doing anything wrong. I feel like I'm doing something right. So that's it. I hope this is useful to you. And, you know, good luck. I wish you all the best. There's hope, you know. That's why I'm here. I would vouch for this, definitely. It does get better. Anyway, I hope it's helpful to you. Thanks for listening to me. Thanks for your support on Patreon.